Basically, if you combine the leading social apps and look globally, the world spends 12 billion hours on social media in one day, which, as Data Reporter pointed out, is the equivalent to 1.4 million years of human existence. Let that sink in. We're spending 1.4 million years of existence per day on social media. Basically, the games industry is competing with something that is like custom tailored to steal all of your time and is as addictive as possible and does everything it can to prevent you from leaving and is losing that fight because how the fuck are you supposed to beat that?
Warframe needs to learn to value our time better. I believe Warframe still has plenty of room to improve how it respects players' time, but addressing that will take more than just reducing crafting times for new Warframes. This game is over a decade old, and with that comes decades worth of legacy issues. The first step is to trim the outdated bloat and begin transitioning toward a more streamlined and modern experience. In the next chapters of this video, I'll dive deeper into the ways we can reduce time and create a new direction. At its core, Warframe is about the loot chase, but it's not just about prime parts or standard weapons. You're also farming a wide range of materials. The problem is, many of these resources are fragmented or locked behind specific content, making the grind unnecessarily complex. Resolution? Cut the fat. We have a lot of planets recycling the same tile set in the same missions. This is a good place to cut those nodes and replace those into the islands that are already listed. One obvious improvement is to reduce crafting times, both prime and standard variants. Starter frames could be prioritized based on MR or availability, while newly added frames could be adjusted to a more reasonable time frame, instead of the current 3 days. Either way, reducing the crafting times is essentially for respecting players' time. But let's not stop there. What about weapons? Lower MR mastery rank weapons should also have reduced crafting times. At this point, why cherry pick? We should evaluate every item and determine what truly deserves priority. For example, something like formas could reasonably be reduced to a 12-hour build time due to high requirements to build one Omni forma. Again, I'm not disputing the cost, only the time involved. A perfect example of time-gated materials is invasion missions. If you ever recruited for a clan, you know exactly how frustrating this can be. Farming these materials is a headache. You're limited to 2 options: either repeatedly complete time-gated missions 3 times, then wait for your rewards, or craft the materials individually from clan research, each taking 12 hours to build just one. This is unacceptable in current days, especially if these resources are the only materials required to advertise your community. Why not replace the random timed event with a static one? Keep the randomized objectives, but let us earn rewards immediately. Some of you might argue that pay to catch up will end up being the main solution. Unfortunately, paying to catch up isn't a viable solution. Don't believe me? Let's see how paying for revives turned out for Warframe.
What's the fate of this system in Warframe?
Well, I'm almost nervous to say this, but we're going for 18. I think we're going to try. I know we're going to try removing paid for revives.
So this is to say you still only have 4 permission.
Yep.
5 if you have an arcane.
Yep.
But if you use them all and you get back to your ship, you're restocked.
Just refill. Yep.
So you don't need to pay.
Yep. So we're, that's kind of what we're doing.
So we're not going to revive the revive system.
Our intent is not to revive the revive system. No.
I am very excited about this.
Yeah, I mean, we looked at the stats about who pays for revives and when they pay for revives and that sort of thing, and it kind of looks like it sort of favors people that don't know any better.
Yep.
And so that meant take it out.
Resource deposits are definitely due for an upgrade. These specialized containers, which you've likely seen scattered across various tile sets, only hold a single type of resource. Even though it's functional, the system feels outdated and limited. The problem isn't with the existing resource deposits themselves, but with materials that aren't supported by any deposit system. A great example is mutagen samples, an uncommon material with no depository drop location in the game. Having a reliable source would have really helped larger clans during the HEMA weapon release, and let's be honest, no one's going to complain about more loot. Now, imagine this issue scaled across the entire game, and you start to see the bigger problem. If DE adds resource deposits for all resources in all islands, this will immediately alleviate our time. Reducing the number of isolated islands in the game or allowing more crossover between game modes would significantly cut down the time needed to farm materials. A great example I mentioned in my previous video, I'd like to see Railjack Islands integrated into the main star chart, making Railjack a primary way to farm materials. It's just a hypothesis right now, but it's a valid option we currently don't have. What if squatting up with clan or alliance members gave a passive resource boost? The more members in your squad, the greater the boost. The exact amount can vary, but the goal is to encourage teamwork and reward collaboration within clans and alliances. For me, this is a win-win, and doesn't require a lot of assets to build. Listen, I'm pressing the developers hard on this one. Normally, I'd say some of the responsibility falls on us too, but everything I mentioned are long-standing issues. In my opinion, many of these problems could be eased if the developers gave us more options and tools. We're aiming for better engagement, not just for new players, but for all, and I believe this is a step in the right direction. Please do me the honor and subbing my channel, making a like, and also please make a comment. Your words are important too. That's it for now. Till next time.